Today's September 7th, 2018, and we are currently 788 days away from the 2020 presidential election, while being 60 days away from the 2018 midterm elections. So today we're doing Colin Kaepernick versus Donald Trump, and this is going to be a pretty interesting video. Donald Trump is going to win. I'm just going to say that outright for a number of reasons. Number one, Colin Kaepernick has no recent history even discussing real politics. Other than outside of the whole kneeling for the national anthem, he hasn't really invested himself into campaigning for certain candidates, backing certain policies, other than ones that were just opposed by Donald Trump and the rest of the GOP, which has caused recent outrage, which is why this topic is just now coming up again after it was mentioned around a year ago, and then a couple times it does pop back up, but this time it's actually taken effect. Possibly could take an effect on a current company, and that company is Nike. A lot of people are saying that Nike lost $4 billion. I looked into that, and not necessarily. They did take a loss, but it wasn't as tremendous as people think. It wasn't because mainly of this either. Businesses are always prone to losses. Like when people like to say that the boycott Starbucks thing hurt Starbucks, well, it really didn't. And people tried to show, I guess, stocks there, but it was because of another reason. It was just they took credit for it because it just so happened to happen around the same period of time, but it was by something else that was motivating it. But this Nike thing is purely based off this entire fiasco that pretty much has divided the nation. Half the nation believes that they shouldn't be kneeling, and then the other half believes that they can do whatever they want because of the First Amendment. Whatever. In my personal opinion, I'm not going to make an opinion about that. So cool. That's all I'm going to say about it. But overall, I would just say that no matter how you're going to view it, I do think there are good arguments for both sides, to be completely honest with you. But we currently are looking at an electoral map that obviously would favor the president. So what I mean by that is pretty much we're going to start by filling in all the safe states for Donald Trump. I will not be doing a likely leaning or toss-up type map. It's just going to be purely red, blue, and yellow, and then we'll start characterizing all the rest of the states. So pretty much the safe states for Donald Trump are being characterized at this point in time. Probably Florida, which when I see safe, I'm not saying that Trump's going to win these by double digits. I'm just saying that there's no possibility for Colin Kaepernick to win here. And that gives Trump an outright 259 electoral votes, actually 260 with the 2nd district from the state of Maine. And, of course, 0 for Kaepernick because I haven't filled in any states yet. I'm not entirely sure if he's a Democrat or not, especially with the whole recent political type thinking that the country has been in, not just him himself. He, I believe, refused to endorse either candidate in 2016. I remember that he said he was ashamed watching 2 candidates like that, which really embarrassed him as an American. And I believe that's how a lot of the country felt, which is why many people didn't vote, and I do not believe he voted either. But I'm just going to put him as a Democrat, mainly because there is no independent feature. And I think that if he ever did decide to run, it would be under the Democratic Party because there's truly no other way to win in the modern political era. So right now we're going to start by filling in California as a blue state, Hawaii as a blue state. As weird as it looks, I know a number of these states are probably still going to go to Colin Kaepernick, even with a number of things behind him. I understand that these states did get close in 2016, but I do think Kaepernick could narrowly edge them out purely because that Democratic symbol is by his name. There are partisan voters everywhere. If we take, I believe, South Dakota, or there was a congressional race where the Republican lost to the incumbent, I believe it was a woman representative, and then he switched to the Democratic Party just to run against her. That didn't work. Just because the Democratic title was by his name, he did not get as many voters as he could have. As possibly a conservative, just with a C by his name, which not many people would know. I don't even think that's an established political party in South Dakota, but in New York it is, for example. Or let's say they both had a Republican symbol by their name, he probably would have gotten a lot more voters. We've come to a point where people will literally vote for anyone if it has a Democratic symbol or a Republican symbol by its name. And I understand, yes, it comes down to the candidate. Kanye West is not going to win these states because he's known more infamously. In my home state of Maryland, many people do support what Colin Kaepernick did, or whether or not they don't support it, they're not going to say that they're going to completely boycott Nike. Yes, it's a Democratic state, which is just going to show that these key Democratic states probably aren't flipping red either. And I've talked to a number of people from a couple of swing states like Florida, Pennsylvania, Virginia. Not many people around, I guess. They're in the case of Virginia, they're in Northern Virginia. But down in Florida, I'm not entirely sure, and either in Pennsylvania. But so it could be the people that are around. But also, you could see a little bit more of a draw away from Nike in some of these swing states. But still, a lot of people like the brand. a lot of people are pointing out faults of the brand, but also that's not really what this entire video is about. This is not Nike versus Trump. This is Colin Kaepernick versus Trump. With that Democratic title by his name, I do expect him to win a couple of these states, but I'm not expecting him to win this presidential election whatsoever. Washington and Oregon, I still expect to go to Colin Kaepernick very narrowly at the end of the day, but Colorado, Nevada, not Utah, whoa. Virginia, not West Virginia either. Crazy. Virginia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, I all expect to go to Donald Trump. That was a clean sweep for Donald Trump, but it comes with reasoning. Virginia, Nevada, Colorado, and Minnesota, all states that Hillary Clinton won in 2016. Be honest with yourself. Do you expect someone like Colin Kaepernick, which comes with no political experience? And I know Donald Trump didn't have political experience either, but he was in the political stage for a long time. He's in because he kneeled for the national anthem. And I'm not saying that doesn't have some deeper meaning and a deeper understanding that some people really don't understand and some people understand, if that makes sense to you. But when it comes down to it, Donald Trump was prominent about issues. He was considering running in 2000, even though not many people know about that. And also, time and time again, he's either donated to certain political parties and certain candidates. Also, one thing to address. I know Colin Kaepernick cannot run. He's 30. You need to be 35 to win the presidency. I actually think you may be able to run depending on the state, but I don't think you can win, if that makes sense. I think so, but still, obviously he wouldn't not become president just based off the age limit, even if he was ever to win any type of election. But New Hampshire as well goes to Donald Trump, along with the entire state of Maine. And that's the first time, one of the first times I've characterized the entire state of Maine for Donald Trump. And then New Mexico, of course, goes to Trump, which finalizes our map at 182 electoral votes for Colin Kaepernick and 356 for Donald Trump. And you'd expect after 4 years of being president, people would say that he is pretty experienced at this point in time. I would agree as well. I don't think that lack of experience card can now play in for Donald Trump, but I think he would be the first one to play it if it was against his opponent. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.